What are the pros and cons about getting rid of TJ Watt or extending TJ Watt, should I say? Look, it's about 50-50. Anytime we bring up the conversation, it is 50-50 in the chat. It's a lot of people want to get rid of him and say trade him, get as much as you can. A lot of people say, no, he's a Steeler for life. He's earned the money. He can help us pay the man. So, I was actually, when I thought about doing this, I was going to put in, the majority of you guys want to do this and the majority of you guys want to do that. I couldn't do it, and me, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can. It's 50-50 on what Steeler fans think about it. Well, if it's 50-50, let's break it down. First, let's start with the cons. He's going to be 36 years old if he signs a new 5-year contract at the end of that deal. 36 years old. And if the Steelers pay him what reportedly he is wanting to be paid, it means he's going to be making $40 million or a little more at 36 years old, playing an edge rusher position. I don't know. Look, I know the first thing somebody's going to say, well, look at Cam Hayward. You're right. Look at Cam Hayward. He's an anomaly. You name another 35-year-old defensive tackle that's first team All-Pro that's playing at the level that Cam Hayward is playing. And you ever go back and count them. Not many. So that's an anomaly. Asking a guy that has been hurt. I'm not saying TJ Watt gets hurt all the time because that's not true. I think people look at it because he got hurt at the end of 2023, the last game of the year. Well, he's injury prone. Well, he played 7. He just got hurt and he missed a playoff game. He missed a game, big game. I get it. And the year before that, he had gotten hurt, missed 10 games. So I understand, but he's not really injury prone. And even last year, while he got hurt, he was out there playing. Now, it wasn't very productive, but he was out there playing those last 4 games because he got hurt in the Philly game. That was after he had 2 sacks in the game and was causing havoc all over the place. So keep that in mind too. But he will be 36 years old if he signs a new 5-year deal. Now, we have to mention the slippage. Look, 2024, I thought he had a good season. Up until he got hurt. And again, he got hurt against Philly. I thought he was having a good year. I really did. I didn't think there was anything wrong with TJ. I think he got hurt against Philly. It's either Philly or Baltimore. I can't remember. But either way, I thought he was having a good year. Not his best, but he was having a good season. But once he got hurt, while he was still out there, away went, okay, teams have to account for TJ Watt by double teaming him. They didn't have to do that anymore. The chipping him. They didn't have to do that anymore. And the Steelers suffered because of that, And you're not blaming TJ Watt. It's just he was out there. They were able to block him without having to account for him like they normally do. Hurt the back end, hurt everything. It is what it is. Hurt his ankle. I think he had a broken thumb that they just didn't talk about, either that or a torn ligament in his thumb. Well, it's tough to play like that, man. But he was out there. He was battling. But again, y'all know my philosophy. I don't excuse bad play just because you're hurt. If you're hurt, that doesn't mean, okay, you get to play bad. I'm not saying you're playing as what you would be at 100%, but you can't play bad. And I would venture to say the last 4 games, TJ Watt was playing bad. He was out there. He was giving everything that he had, but it just wasn't good enough. That was a problem. So keep that in mind, man. We did see it the last 4 games. And there were a couple other games where TJ just wasn't doing anything. Didn't, like the Indianapolis game. You didn't even know he was out there playing, which is troublesome. And he wasn't hurt then at all. Just they took him out of the football game. Okay, fine. And I know what you'll say. Well, they accounted to him. They put so many resources to take him away. Well, they did that. Well, then nobody else did anything. Because Indianapolis, until basically 8 minutes left in the game, was going up and down the field on the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's too much for that kind of high-priced defense. Having said that, we saw that with TJ Watt a few games. So, will he be the same player in 3 years? Now, I brought this up on the live that we did yesterday, is that if you're going to pay TJ Watt, if that's what you decide to do, then you have to be certain that 3 years from now that he's going to be able to get you 15 sacks in that season. Because if you're only paying him for 2 years, then just give him a 2-year contract or a 3-year and string it out, whatever the case may be. And you're also not going to be able to pay him $40 million over that time period. It'll be more than that, which would be crazy if he's wanting the same amount of money. But that's part of it, is that you can't just sit here and say, well, we hope TJ is going to be good 3 years down the road. We're still going to pay him this money. Absolutely not. Now, granted, you don't have a crystal ball to be able to know for a 100% fact whether he's going to be capable of doing that. But that's the gamble. The gamble is 3 years from now, TJ Watt's going to be capable of getting you 15 sacks. It can't be, well, we paid him this money, a year and a half in, man, 2 years in, he's not that guy anymore. He's an 8-sack-a-year guy. Guys that get 8 sacks a year can't make $40 million. I'm sorry. And that's the gamble of what is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You have to make that gamble. You have to know that that's what he's going to be doing. Again, you don't have a crystal ball, but that's what you would be paying. That's what you're paying for, is to get another 3 years of top-notch production. And top-notch production for a guy making that kind of money is a minimum of 15 sacks, in my opinion. Somebody else might say less. I don't know. But you're getting paid top dollar. I need top dollar results. To me, as an edge rusher, that means 15 sacks in a season, and he's got to be able to do that for 3 years. Do you think that's possible? Do you think that's a reality? I guess realistic. We'll see. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to make that decision. Now, let's talk about some of the pros. He's still an elite pass rusher. There's no question about that. He is an elite pass rusher. Maybe not as good as Garrett. I know that'll piss some Steeler fans off, but you have to acknowledge how good Myles Garrett is. You have to. You know, we live in reality on Steelers Almighty, people. We don't live in fantasy land. Myles Garrett is outstanding. But let's just say they're even, or if you even believe that Watt is better. Okay, great. That equals elite. He's an elite pass rusher. So he has to be accounted for when he's healthy. That's one thing that I think kind of goes unnoticed, is that when he is healthy, you have to, and I just mentioned this, you have to use resources, to block TJ Watt, because if you don't, he wrecks your football play. It's just that simple. He wrecks your football play if you don't account for him. We've seen it so many times. Teams want to single block him. He beats it. He beats up the quarterback. That's just something that TJ Watt does. So in doing that, that's why it was so important to get bigger, more athletic, more explosive on the defensive line. Because again, if you're putting all these resources towards him, we need defensive linemen that can do a few things. Derek Harmon comes to mind. If they're going to single block Derek Harmon, he's got to make you pay for that. He's got to make you pay for that, especially if you're going to double team Cam too. Got to make you pay for that. So he's still an elite pass rusher. He still has to be dealt with resources, or he's going to wreck your football play. Another thing that kind of goes under the radar, because he's an edge rusher, TJ Watt's elite against the run, ladies and gentlemen. He is elite, especially when he comes underneath. He comes underneath, makes a play, basically hops underneath, throws his outside shoulder, rips through, and still stays in fundamental position that even if a running back tries to bounce outside, he's there. The only thing a tackle could do is hold him or block him in the back, which are penalties. Now, the ref's got to call all those penalties. That's a different conversation for a different day. But TJ Watt is elite as an edge rusher, or as an edge playing against the run. Again, you combine that with what he brings as a pass rush, the guy's worth a lot of money, man. He's worth a lot of money. He's also a team leader. He's good in the locker room. That can't go unnoticed, especially since we lost a leader, Minka Fitzpatrick. Look, there's all these stupid rumors going around about how Mika may have been a bad guy in the locker room. No, he wasn't. Hey, he wasn't a bad guy. Or maybe they'll be true. Either way, I know he was a leader of the football team, bottom line, and TJ Watt is that too. It's risky to give all those guys up. Very risky. Not saying you can't have other guys step into the role, but you've got a guy that's as good as he is, that's also a leader, a good guy. Yeah, that's somebody that you would want to lean on. As far as teammates are concerned. So losing that in the locker room, that's something that you just can't ignore, ladies and gentlemen. You wouldn't want to ignore that. So he's good for the culture. And what I mean by good for the culture is you pay the guy that you drafted, developed, been phenomenal, you pay the man. It's just that simple. And I know you've paid him once already. You can pay him again, especially if he's still really good. And he is still really, really good. So you don't want to be this franchise known that, okay, we got this guy, he's a future Hall of Famer, but because he's 30, which for some reason people think is ancient, he's 30, well, got to cut him, time to get rid of him. Especially if you think he can give you 3 years of good football. You remember what I said, 3 years is the key. If he can do that, you don't want to just get rid of somebody like that. That would be foolish. So it's tricky. It's tricky, man. But it's worth the discussion. Let's get to the poll question. So, poll 2, what is the most important factor in deciding whether to extend TJ Watt's contract? Is it A, performance and ability to stay healthy? B, his leadership and impact on team culture? C, the financial implications towards the cap? Or D, the depth of talent available on the D line? Very, very interesting. Now, for me, the difference is that the whole cap thing, it's all about the percentage. So many people get caught up in the dollar amount of somebody making. And I talked about it. Hey, is he worth 40 million? Okay, whatever. But again, if you decide to pay him, the number isn't really that big of a deal. It's how much of the percentage of the cap is he hitting? Because if it's 42 million, but it's 8% of the cap, you will live with that. You'll live with that. You know. Now, if it's 50 million and it's 19% of the cap, that's a different guy. Then it would not be worth it. I don't care who you are. That's the problem. And that's what we have to start kind of regenerating our mind to kind of start thinking about the percentage of the cap versus the actual dollar amount. Way more important. Way more important. We're at the halftime, ladies and gentlemen. And first, I want to thank everybody again for all the support that you guys have given Steelers Almighty. I appreciate that. Look, quick reminder, memberships. You're going to start seeing that if you were a member previously that you got kicked out from being a member. It's because we made some changes to the memberships. What are those changes? We lowered the prices. We looked at what we were doing and what we could do. We just needed to lower the prices, and that's what we did. Unfortunately, when you do that, YouTube kicks you out from being a member, so you have to re-up. So again, make sure you re-up if you're not, or if you were already a member. And if you're not a member, you may want to take a look at it, and even go up a tier or two on what you were thinking about to become a member. Same thing with reoccurring members. Level 4, all pro level, you get that all 22 of entire football game breakdowns. So if you like the breakdowns that you've seen the last couple of days with John O. Smith and Jalen Ramsey, we did one a week ago with Aaron Rodgers, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. If you like those, you'll be getting the same thing on a weekly basis during the season, breaking down the entire football game. You got to be level 4 or higher to be able to do that. So we appreciate you guys. Also, merch is here. Again, Steelers Almighty Shop. Make sure you go there, pick up your merch. We got hats, Thunderbird shirts, Thunderbird glasses. Got everything that you need over there. Make sure you go pick up your merchandise today. We appreciate you. Let's get back to it.